we're about to get run over by one of the other vehicles. So while we move out of the road, let's jump back on board with Brent.
Well, can you see it? Can you see it, Brian?
I can.
What is it, Brian?
Grass and leaves.
You see the grass and leaves. Is there a stump in the grass and leaves, Brian?
Yes.
It's not a stump, it's a lion.
Oh, wonderful.
A male lion, isn't that wonderful? Unfortunately, he is just south of our boundary, so we can't go any closer. But as you can see, there is one of the Birmingham boys, which I have no idea. And he is looking very flat. I don't think we're going to spend too much time here, but at least it's a cat.
Mm-hmm.
On Cat a Day.
Yeah, it is indeed.
Couldn't have Taylor have all the cats? Isn't that amazing how an animal that size can just disappear into the grass like that? Now, of course, this is probably one of the Birmingham Coalition. You can never be 100% sure with a view like that, but most likely. And hopefully they'll move a little bit north tomorrow morning and they'll be on Cheetah Plains, not in the no man's land between. Now, Cheetah Plains again had more rain than we did at Djuma. Oh dear, have I pulled the ears out again? Let me just throw it over there. Okay, so as I said, there's not much point of staying here, but I want to show you how much water is down here at the moment. There is all the little pans and actually some of the little drainage lines. Oh, I'm getting tangled properly today. What is going on here? There we go. Let's go have a look. There's a lovely pan I want to show you here. Now, we could get some very nice birds at the pan. You'll never know. Hi, Jean. Jean says, can I explain what an LBJ bird is? Well, in twitching communities, it is known as a little brown job. So they're generally one of the harder birds to identify and separate from each other. But yes, so LBJs are normally larks, pipits, cisticulars, certain sparrow species. But yes, little brown jobs. Okay, well, this is the spot that I'm convinced we might get a chance of seeing some particularly rare birds that just might arrive. You never know. Some of the crakes, or maybe even a bittern or two. Now, very unlikely, but if we're going to see any of those species, it is going to be in a little pan like this. Look, there are some doves, and you can see the water is actually flowing at the moment. A thirsty dove. Some laughing doves. Let's get a little bit closer. There's a second one there. Very pretty. Now, as I was saying, where we're going to see a bittern or a crake, one of these things, is going to be in a spot like this. Not only is it excellent for possibly some rarer bird species, and it's also going to be very good for frogs. And you see there's lots of cover, grass, some fallen down tree in there, so that there's lots of cover for the frogs and also for any of those peculiar birds. Well, no peculiar birds and no noisy frogs today. Well, you got something? Oh, well spotted, Brian, an African bullfrog. But he's not a noisy one. And it's not a boy at all, it's a girl. I can hear some others plopping around. Okay, well, bullfrog, you keep sitting there nice and comfortably. We're going to go across to James, who has managed to escape the confines of his tent.
I have indeed, everybody, but I must tell you I'm struggling to identify what we have here. There is a very small spider living on this now, well, dying piece of Digitaria eriantha. That's the grass species. And can you see it there, Jean-Dry? It's this tiny little thing next to my finger. And here is its web. That is the wind blowing. Yes, I can't hold it still. It's got a little piece of old food here, a husk, and it's got strands coming down to all these pieces of grass here. In fact, Chandra, there's another one here, and I wonder if this isn't the male. I don't know if this is an orb-web spider, a dwarf orb-web spider, which is a different thing. I really can't tell. You basically need to stick it under a microscope to tell. If you come over here, Jondry, there's another one here, and I wonder if that isn't a crab spider. I don't think... No, it's exactly the same species.
Where'd you go?
It's right here, sorry. No... I don't know if it is the same species, actually. Sorry, it's over here on the Pogonathra squarosa. See him there? You got him? Now, I don't know what spider that is either, actually. I've just seen him. I don't think they're related because he's got a little sort of trapping spot over there above him. Could be the female of the same spider, I suppose. But very difficult to say. So there's a lot of spidering going around here. Oh, no, wait, stop there, Jandro. Stop, don't move an inch. I think you're about to go into the orb. Now, this spider has done that. Yeah, it's starting to make an orb. Well, follow my hand. Can you see my finger?
Yep.
Follow it round. That is where there is about to be an orb. And if you just follow it around there, you can see the start of it. So I think that's a little shelter it's made for itself. And here it has set up its orb web. Now, if we go off to the left, we will see Polyrhacus over here on the top of this Waltheria bush. And Polyrhacus, I suppose, isn't really under any huge danger from these spiders because, well, Polyrhacus isn't a flyer. She would be under danger if she was attacked by a crab spider or something like that, but even the crab spiders might be slightly too small. Now, I think it'll probably take Polyrhacus. But all around here, for a sweet little thing like our very favourite ant, there's so much danger. There are spiders everywhere. There are birds that can come and get you. There are mantises that will come and hups you, especially if you happen to be sitting on a Waltheria bush. And although I really enjoy lying in the grass here and finding these little things that are all around the place, especially in summer, it's always slightly tinged with sadness, of course, because yes, everything has got to eat, really. While I sit here, I must just tell you that the smell of the soil after the rain is clean and rather delicious. You enjoying that, Chandra? Marvellous. Polyrhacus. Now, Judy H., I did promise you that I would clear up a mystery that had perplexed, well, you and I suppose. The other day I told you about a hare's tail bush. You said you couldn't find any reference to it. And so I said to you that I would show you and check up what I was looking at. And you put forward the name of Synchrocellaris, but I think it's a grass, Synchrocellaris, which obviously you know, but I think that's probably because I only showed you the top. And it does look like Synchrocellaris from the top, but this is in fact the hare's tail bush, and I think it's only referred to that in Botswana, and that's probably why you couldn't find it. Its botanical name is Kyphocarpa augustifolia. Kyphocarpa augustifolia. And that's what I was talking about a little while back. It is eaten by the netwing beetle. And it is apparently relatively toxic, but they're not sure which bits of it are toxic. So much or very little is known about it. And if you're ever confused as to whether it is what the hare's tail bush, you have only to close your palm around it and you'll be squealing seconds later because of the spikes, very nasty thorny spikes that come off this Kyphocarpa augustifolia, which I must now say 786 times, or I will forget it. Kyphocarpa augustifolia. Let us head back across to the lions, this time not with Brent Leo Smith, but with Kyphocarpa augustifolia.
Sorry, I'm just having a very good... We're back with the Nkuhumas, and the sun is slowly starting to go down, as you saw there with David. And the lions are still sleeping. One has got her head up, and a couple of little ones seem to be getting restless, including my favorite little lion at the moment, doing yoga. And the flies are definitely annoying these lions. You can see their tails are swatting quite a bit. So I must say, literally just a moment ago, this little lioness went up to her mother, I can only presume, and tried to actually suckle off of her. And you might even be able to see the wet marks where, there we go, you can see where she was attempting to suckle. But I don't think she had very much luck. Mom sort of kicked about a bit and tried to chase her off. So I suspect that she's not producing any more milk. And it's about right. They should have been weaned. Now, she was the last one that had to be weaned. The others are all 8 and 9 months old now. But, of course, as cheeky as little animals are, and, well, they still try to go in for a suckle. Hello, little girl. Look how precious she is. She's my absolute favorite little lion. I wish that she would just come pondering over here, though, so that we could see how she's doing. But remember, when the last time I saw her, her entire stomach was covered in black, and you can see it's still a bit patchy, but she's definitely healed up. And remember, her tail was completely ruined, and that is also looking much, much better. The hair, when she decides to flick it again, we'll see it, but the hair is starting to grow back, so that's really good. I think that they'll have patchy elbows for quite some time, but it'll probably... Jeremiah, you've made the comment that cats sleep in the most uncomfortable positions. I have to agree. The way that they also will just sometimes lay down on branches and sort of bits of logs and all sorts of debris. I don't know if I'd find that very comfortable. And I always love it, the way that they sort of roll over onto their backs. There we go. That's my favorite lion position. Look at that. Hand on the belly, stretched out as if they were on the coast of Mozambique, sitting under an umbrella with a cocktail in hand. But no, they're not. They're still here in South Africa. And I think we can... I'm really trying to be positive. I'm hoping that they're going to start to get moving, because it's cooled down quite a bit. The temperature has definitely dropped a couple of degrees now. And it's so still out here, they will be able to hear anything that's moving around them. Now, Courtney, hello to you. You're wondering if there are any reasons as to why a lion pride would split up, other than just it being a large pride. It could be a number of different things, Courtney. And one of the things we actually saw down in the southern sands is, and I often speak about the southern pride. They were a large pride of 20 plus lions, and then male lions actually came in and caused quite a bit of havoc. There were about 3 different sets of lions that came through and disrupted the southern pride, and it eventually led off to them separating and almost forming 2 different prides, and only the one half of them, 5 lionesses, very much like the Nkuhuma Pride, ended up surviving, and now they've bred up again to about 20, I believe. They're 11 cubs. So it can be, males can cause a lot of havoc and distress amongst females, which will often mean that they will move off and move out of areas. And then, like you rightfully said, the pride just getting too large can often mean that they will split up into smaller family groups, which happens every now and then. And then sometimes you'll get, and I've seen it again in the Eastern Cape, we had a young male lion who was inevitably going to be kicked out of the Pride when she reached about 2.5, 3 years old. But his sister decided to go with him. So they both left together. He got chased off. She wasn't chased off, but she decided to keep her brother company, and they moved off and ended up living in the southern sector of the reserve, on another side of the river from the rest of the Pride. And they lived happily ever after. So that was an unusual case, but you sometimes see these strange things. And I suppose food availability, if the Pride is reluctant to leave an area, that might make them split up and move on. And disputes against different members. I suppose you don't always get along with everybody, and I'm sure it's the same thing out here with lions. Some lions might have a stronger bond with each other than perhaps another particular individual, and they might move off too. But not these guys. For the moment, they seem very happy amongst themselves. Oh, you are still a little bit mangy, but definitely not as bad as what it was. So I'm so sorry, I didn't quite hear what Kirst said, but she said something about Jamie being on Jamie. No, not Jamie being on Jamie. Jamie being on the Djuma Dam wall. I wonder what she's got from that beautiful viewpoint.
A really, truly beautiful view, as Taylor said. Lovely, of course, to see water once again in the Voyatella Dam, and to hear the sound of bubbling cassinas, or cassinas as they are known, the frogs that make that bubbly sound, and all sorts of other species of frogs chirping away. We were asked earlier about whether or not, and that was by Lionheart, not by Monkey Man, whether or not we were close to the baboon spider with her babies. Oh, here we go, Lionheart. There she is. She's in there. She is in there. She hasn't popped out yet. I saw her a little bit closer to the surface earlier, but when she saw us coming past, then she ducked back inside. And so far, I don't see any sign of the younger spiders or the little baby spiders that we were watching. And they seem to have dispersed off, which makes total sense because spiders, of course, are not exactly known as parents of the year out here in the animal kingdom. Obviously, baboon spiders keep their little ones around longer than I expected them to, but they certainly, in terms of arachnids, don't quite compare to a scorpion, for example, with limited exceptions. You've got to be careful of using absolutes, but scorpions keep their babies on their backs until their first molt, until their exoskeletons harden. Generally, spiders tend to abandon their nests once they've laid their eggs, and their young just have to move off and get on with things, as instinct has told them to. I'm walking backwards because the soil that we were sitting on earlier, I didn't realize quite how damp it was. VM's knees are soaking. I was not sitting on my knees, I was sitting on my bottom. So my bottom is really, really damp. So I'm going to do the rest of bushwalk backwards. Apparently you're all thrilled to see this much water. It's nice. It is really, really nice. I would have hoped to have seen more, but perhaps I shouldn't look a gift horse in the mouth. Or I completely forgot about the dam camera. There we go. Now you can have a look out over the beautiful dam, where you may or may not have seen me whacking sticks or stones with a stick earlier, because I completely forgot about the dam cam. There you go. A very peaceful, beautiful scene. But the days are definitely shortening, and I think that VM and myself should shortly be hurrying on our way as the light starts to get a little bit grey. One last look at something. This olivaceous scorpion, Europlectes olivaceous. Here she is, or he. That is going to hurt you if it stings you. You can see thick tail, small pincers, and the olivaceous. So the Europlectes not quite as serious as the Parabuthus stings, but painful enough. James knows about it. He got stung by a Vitatus on the elbow. I got stung by a Vitatus on the hand. Rebecca got stung by an olivaceous, and that was very, very painful for her for a few days. I'm not entirely sure the scorpion is so healthy. Oh, look, it's missing. Oh, shame. It's missing the tip of its sting. I wondered why it was so reluctant to... Oh, shame, I better not do that then. Sorry, scorpion, I didn't realize. I wondered why you were being so lackluster. What happened to you? Shame, poor scorpion. Must have escaped from a bird or a mongoose or something. Oh dear. Unfortunately, that's not going to grow back. That's probably the end of the scorpion. Olivaceous and all of the Europlectes sting their prey. Their claws are not really built for catching them. If it was a granulatus or a pistothalmus, it would be okay because it's got nice thick pincers like the one we saw earlier. Okay, it is really getting dark. We better start marching for home. Shame. I feel quite sorry for that scorpion. What a horrible way to end up. Oh, it's a beautiful view from here, but I'm sure it's a beautiful view from everywhere. Let's go and have a look at Brent's perspective. Nearly forgot my stick.
Welcome back. We've left that male lion. I don't think he's going to go anywhere. And we've moved on to Chitwa. Having a quick look for Tundi around the access road. And then we're going to pop down towards the dam and have a look if we can see Vladimir the Impaler, some hippopotami, some birds. And you never know, maybe we'll spot a leopard from the dam wall. It's the right time of the day for them to be on the move. Oh, see, as I said that, there's another little nocturnal creature who's got on the move, but it is running. Don't run away. To the right a little bit. It's just behind the bush there. Let me just put my nose an inch further forward. There he is. So as I said, it's time for the nocturnal and crepuscular animals to get moving. Our scrub hare is out and about early, obviously enjoying the lush green grass that it is feeding on, deciding to get a head start on dinner. There we go. Lovely little creatures. Don't do too well when the wild dogs are around. Wild dogs tend to keep the scrub hare population in check. There could also be some nice elephants in front of on that big open area in front of next to the dam, where there's lots of marula trees. And we'll go for a quick flight down the airstrip. Oh, lovely! Isn't that lovely, Brian? Oh, I think I might even take a photograph. What do you think? It's not often you get to see things like that, in that exact thing, silhouetted against the skyline. That is very, very nice. As I said, definitely worth. I'm just going to snap 2 pictures there, and we'll get a bit closer and then try to snap some more. What do you think? I think this is going to be a splendid shot. What do you think, Brian? It's quite nice. A friend of mine, who's a private guide, has the most spectacular photograph from the airstrip in the southern Sabi Sands, and that airstrip was actually faced east to west, and he has a warthog perfectly silhouetted in the setting sun with nothing behind it from that warthog standing on the airstrip like these zebra are. But unfortunately this airstrip runs north-south rather than east-west, so we'll just have to do with a lovely pink hue. Oh, there goes a great spotted cuckoo that flew across flew across frame. There we go. Look at that, isn't that stunning? There you go, that should be enough pictures. Now, you probably find, as we get a bit closer to the zebra, there's a very good reason for them being out in the open of an airstrip, but there's no grass, they're not ruminants, So why do you think the zebras are chilling in the middle of the Chitwa airstrip? Let's see who's clever. So if you've got a theory on why the zebras are out in the open on the airstrip where there's no grass, send your answers through to questions@WildEarthTV or use the hashtag #SafariLive on Twitter. Why are these zebras standing in the sand? Oh, they're on the move now. But I'd say they've probably been out here for quite a while. Look at the baby impalas chasing each other, spronking through the bush. There's a lot of animals here. Kudu, impala, inyala, zebra. Now Jeremiah thinks it might be to see predators coming. No, oh, there they go. Now Jeremiah, I don't think it is because to see predators. Look at them go, having such a good time. Lovely green grass. Not a leopard in sight. It's time to play. Oh, look at this. They're coming. Oh, wonderful. Now, a lot of people are joking that it might be waiting for an aeroplane. They're about to go back. Here they come. Where are they? Boom, boom, boom. Oh, look at these impala. We haven't seen them play for quite a while. Quite nice. Filled with the joy of life. They're coming for us, Brian, up in front. Oh, they turned away. Darn it. Let's try to get a little bit closer. Now, well done to Toxigenic. You are spot on. I think they've been staying out in the middle of the airstrip, waiting for it to get a bit cooler and for the bugs to disappear. Oh, are we going to get a zebra sunset, Brian? I think so. Oh, the sun's just dipped, but we could get a nice gap. There we go. We've got the zebras atop a termite mound. We've got impala chasing each other around at high speed. It is very pretty here at the moment. Oh! Look at them going behind the zebras there. Oh, and coming out from behind us as well. Practicing their wild dog evasion skills. What a stunning scene. Oh, next lot's about to... Oh, you can hear the males getting involved now. That much deeper. Pff, pff. It's not too long till rutting season again. Beautiful. And off the stampede goes. The kudu's not getting involved. Oh, they will calm down now. Wasn't that lovely? Oh, we better get... We're a bit sidetracked here. So let's keep heading towards the dam, see what's happening there. While we do that, Jamie is about to head home as that sun dips lower behind our western horizon, so she would love to say goodbye.
I would love to say goodbye. In fact, it would be very rude of me if I didn't say goodbye to you all. So thank you so much for joining us. As Brent has said, it is starting to get dark, and starting to get dark a lot earlier these days, now that the sun has disappeared behind the horizon. And with all of the elephants around that we've been seeing tracks of, not the actual animals, but we've seen tracks of, we decided it is a time for us to retreat to the safety of camp. We don't want to be out on foot in the dark. Oh, that just leaves the goodbyes and the thank yous. Thank you to Herbie and to Viam for his wonderful camera work as always, and thank you to all of you for joining us. I hope you had a marvellous time. I hope you enjoy the last half an hour or so of your sunset safari. I will catch up with you on the sunrise safari tomorrow morning. Bye-bye, everybody.
You didn't know the sound over that ident was live, did you? Yes, it's me every time I sing it. Not really. Now, over here, sorry about that, I've got a kogolochi. Now, kogolochi is a wonderful word to say, kogolochi, and it is, of course, the Zulu word for cockroach, which is derived from the English word cockroach. And Jeandre found this kogolochi. Didn't you, Jeandre? Well found. And what we're going to do is look at it under the microscope, because I'm so very skilled at showing you things under the microscope. Hello, kogolochi. Oh. Lokogolochi, lokogolochi. Lokogolochi. Sorry. I don't know what species of kogolochi this is, but it's a bit of a damaged kogolochi. It is now cleaning its legs, which is very cool to watch. And they're also fastidious cleaners of their antenna. This one, unfortunately, has lost one of its antenna. Don't crawl towards me. There we are. Just keep doing your grooming. There we are. What a clever kogolochi you are. Brilliant. Now, there you see it cleaned its little antenna. My family is not a family of naturalists. And in fact, most of them, bar my father, are absolutely terrified of anything that crawls. And oft times, when the family is all together for Christmas, my sister will be heard squealing from her bedroom, going, "Kogolochi, kogolochi!" And she'll come running out, and my father or I will have to go and retrieve the offending animal, and it will normally be something like this. Now, what species of kogolochi this is, I don't know. I've looked in the book. Oh, it's a jumping kogolochi. It's now in the microscope. Get out. There you are. There's kogolochi. There we are. There's kogolochi inside the microscope, where unfortunately he's not going to be able to remain. Well, I suppose we could leave him there for the night if he wanted to stay there, but he's going to have to move. Then, what else I wanted to show you, once we put kogolochi back, he's a jumping kogolochi. He's now on the desk. He's going to escape. And Project Alpha, you say it looks like a zebra cockroach. I'm going to assume that you're making that up because, in fact, it did look like a zebra. But I think it's an excellent name, and I think from henceforth, the jumping/zebra kogolochi will be known as Zebu kogolochius. Kogolochius zebu. Now, I showed you this a little while back, and we're just going to progressively watch these things hatch, I hope. Inside now, we've got two fully formed pupae, and the waspies have yet to come out. There they are. That is the pupa. Let me just turn some light on. There we go. See, Jeandre. And in there is the forming wasps, and I do hope that we catch them before they escape from here. I suppose I should start putting it in some kind of Tupperware. There's the other one. And then the next hole is pretty much sort of impossible to look into with this microscope, because I don't know what's happened there, but I think that's a failed effort. And I suspect it's our fault that it's failed. We found the caterpillars in there, of course, but I think it was exposed to the air too soon. And I think that what that did was to desiccate it. I think it sucked all the moisture out. And I think that larva of the wasp has now unfortunately passed on before it was able to come to fruition. So I think that's our fault there, and I'm deeply sorry for it, but that's what's happened. The other two are absolutely fine, I think, and hopefully they will hatch sometime in the not too distant future. Good. Marvellous. Now what I'm doing to stop them trying to desiccate is I'm putting the stick over them, and they actually sealed themselves in. Those two, you can see they sealed themselves in with silk, and so I'm just going to put them over there and just fix those silken caps back to where they're supposed to be, and then we'll put him back up here under the bison. Not really a bison, is it? It's a buffalo. Okay, then there's one more thing I want to show you, John, if you wouldn't mind waiting in here. Is that okay? I know you get nervous in here on your own. We've done a lot on spiders today, and I haven't for some time checked on the eggs that were in here of a violin spider. This is Stradivarius, the violin spider. Did you get the joke, Andre? He gave me a very sort of fake smile there, indicating that he didn't think much of my joke, even though he got it. So let's see if Mrs. Stradivarius has managed to produce any youngsters yet. No, wait, Kirsten, don't come here. Kirsten keeps saying, and, which means she's going to come to the microscope feed. No, stop it. And while I find it very kind that she thinks I'm able to operate this microscope with any form of competence, I'm clearly not. Now, I can't find any form of spider in here at all, which is very strange, because last time that's very irritating. Sorry, 1 second, everyone. I was in here, I promise. Maybe it's crawled out and disappeared. This is very awkward. All right, well, Kirsten, you can come over and have a look inside here, but I'm afraid this is going to be like watching tumbleweed flowing through a ghost town. That's just the wind blowing there, I'm afraid, everybody. This is an unoccupied skull at this stage. That's very sad. We're looking around. It's so nice at night when you can start to hear the odd frog calling, and I can do that now. I can hear them calling. No, the spider has absconded. That was what's known as an epic fail, everybody. When you plan to show somebody something and it is not there, and then you hack around trying to find it while live, that is known as an epic fail. Now, Simon, you're wondering if there is a cicada in the bug box behind us. There is a cicada in the bug box behind us, of course. Now, when I force Gendre to come and look at this. So, in fact, we actually have got light here, don't we, Gendre? It's all right, isn't it? He's starting to look offended. And you want to know if it's male or female. Now, the only way I can tell, there it is there, would be for me to take it out and then pull open the abdomen. Or not pull it open, but sort of bend it backwards. And I'm afraid that would then crack it up and it would break up into 1,000 little pieces. Everything in here is very, very fragile because it's been dead a long time. All the insides have atrophied and either evaporated away or kind of gone all crystallized. And that means as soon as you take the lid off this thing, even the wind, a gentle breeze, will totally tear the wings on the butterflies. And I hadn't realized that when we ordered it. I thought we'd be able to take them out and show them and handle them. We can't actually do that. So I don't know if that's a male or a female cicada, and the only way to tell would be to look, as far as I understand, underneath the abdomen and see if it had the sound-producing mechanism, which of course the female doesn't have and the male does. So I'm afraid, Simon, I can't tell you whether that is a male or a female. I'm sorry about that. Right, T-Wizzle is driving around. I don't know if she's got her spotlight out, does she? No, she doesn't. She's just fixing her hat, making herself look beautiful, and now she's going to greet you.
They're fast asleep and showing absolutely no signs of waking up, which is very sad, but perhaps we'll catch them bright and early tomorrow morning on the sunrise safari. So we're just zooming along Central, and I think we're going to go past the dam very quickly. I'd like to just go and have a look around there. Oh no, actually we'll go into Vulture's Nest. We're going to go here and we'll go past a chele pad and see if there's anything happening in some of these mud wallows, which are quite lovely. But it's turned out to be an absolutely beautiful evening. Not a breath of wind, beautiful sunset, as you can see as we bumble along. Let's see if we can maybe find a little bird before they all go to sleep. I can see them. I just saw some tawny flank priniers, but they're not hanging around. I can hear them. Where did you go? No, now I see something else. Is it a batis? Yes. No? It's a shrike. I don't know if you can see it, David. Straight through the... I think it's just turned back. It was a red... There it is. Well done, David. That is a red-backed shrike. That wasn't what I'd heard chirping and flying away from me. This one is much bigger than the two little tawny flank priniers. Probably almost double the size. But what a nice little bird. I love the shrikes. Very vicious creatures. Even though they sit there looking so beautiful. I'm sure you've seen a couple of times of how they impale their prey onto thorns and things, and particularly the fiscal shrike. But we don't really see the fiscal shrike up here. There's another one getting ready for bed. There's a Burchell starling. And there it goes. Look how well it can fly. It's sitting up there, I think, reaching a high point, giving a big last chirp. Is that it? No? There's somebody else alarming here too. Perhaps they are not impressed by the starling being around here. Some of these birds can be quite territorial, and often if an unwanted guest comes by, they start chatting away. Oh, there's a silhouette of a starling. Can you see there, David, just on the termite mound?
Yep.
Ah! Well done, David. That's fantastic camera work. Ah, and there it goes. Oh, that's beautiful too. Isn't that lovely? Another Burchell starling. They don't seem to want to cooperate too much today, but thankfully our perseverance has now paid off, as you can see. Lots of insects around. You can see them buzzing around the head of that Burchell starling. Little midges. I actually had my sunglasses on a moment ago as I was driving, because at this time of the year when it is hot and humid, and particularly after all of the rain, the insects will always fly into your eyes, and it's never really fun. Well, thank you for that. And I'm sure we'll hear the birds giving their last calls as the sun starts to disappear now, because it's time for the nighttime birds to come out. So, should we see if we can find an owl, David? I think it's spotlight time. We might get lucky tonight, because I said to you, we'd seen those termite mounds releasing their alates. So I think we could be in for some nice birds this evening. Oh, that was a very unimpressed. It sounded like a Natal spurfowl. I think it had taken roost in one of these russet bush willows, and they didn't like the fact that I may be talking so loudly. Maybe I have to lower my voice now because the birds have gone to bed. Too bad. I'm always loud. I'm always being told to keep quiet. My dad still, can you believe it? At 24, my dad still has to tell me to be quiet at home. It's ridiculous. Or a chameleon, David? Any one of those. I would like to find maybe a little barred owlet feeding on some alates. I think that would be quite nice. Or chameleon. I've still never seen, I'm getting tangled here, I've never seen a chameleon actually eating anything before, like physically watching the entire attack, I suppose, where it'll shoot its very long sticky tongue out at a fly or anything. Well, should we say goodnight to the woodland kingfisher? Brent, we're catching up to you with the birds, though these aren't the rare ones that you seem to be pulling out of your sleeve. But we'll just catch up, and I haven't even made a bird list this month. But we'll start again in March. We'll see how that goes. And off it goes too. Bye-bye, woodland kingfisher. Good night to you. At least it posed for just a couple of seconds and gave us a little call as well. Right. Oh, it's a strange... that's better. That's why. I was wondering, I was going to say, it's very dark and I couldn't get my lights to work properly. It's because I didn't engage the button. Right, let's see. I think this seems like it could be a good chameleon area. Lots of nice tall bits of grass for the young ones to sit on, and then lots of little branches as well poking out. That would make a perfect perch for a chameleon. Let's see. You've got to look very carefully. I always find I seem to have a better chance of finding the small ones than the bigger flat-neck chameleons. Let's check here. We've got to make sure. We've got to check everywhere. And as you know, I'm very one-sided. Hey, David, I'll now ignore the left. Have you got the left? David's got the left. I've got the right. And we're scanning. Because if I do this, then I can't concentrate. I can't look on both sides when I'm scanning for chameleons. Let's check over here. Come on. I have such a good feeling. My chameleon senses are tingling. Come on. Maybe, maybe not. Who have we got over here? Oh, we've got some impala. Won't be able to shine on them, sadly. We've got some butterflies that have settled down. Where are they? Can you see them? Michael? Can you see that little bright yellow thing there? Go up, go up. There we go. And then top right. You see there's a butterfly that's settled down for the night. Now, Michael, you're wondering why we see so many smaller owls than we do the larger ones. That's a very good question. I'm not sure why, because down in the southern sector of the Sabi Sands, I used to see a lot of spotted eagle owls. I used to see a lot of rose eagle owls, which are the big ones, the giant eagle owls. And what else did I used to see? I've seen a barn owl there before, which was a very special one to see. You don't see them very often. So I'm not sure why I haven't seen any of those species of owls up here yet, but I've seen scops, I've seen pearl spotted, and I've seen the barred owlet too, which is it's just quite interesting. Well, I'm not sure why. Maybe James will be able to clarify a little bit on that. He seems to have been working up in, or even Jamie and Brent, they've been working up in the northern Sabi Sands for a little bit longer than I have. But I'm really shocked that we haven't seen many nocturnal birds just yet. It's this crepuscular period which is the best time to come out, because the insects are still quite active, because there's still a little bit of light around. But then also the diurnal birds have pretty much gone to bed now. You can just hear them giving off their last calls, but they're not flying around, they're not really feasting too much. This is the nightjar and owl time to be out and about. And of course the courses, the bronze-wing courses, the water thickneys. Oh, okay. Sorry, Chris, I've just lost communication with you. Okay, so there we go. Right. So it seems as though we're not going to make it to Chelepan. We're going to try though, but let's go across to Brent. And I don't know where Brent is at the moment. Let's ask him whereabouts he is in the Sabi Sand.
I just passed to Chelepan, and I decided to come towards this little mud wallow here to see if we could hear any frogs. Or see any frogs moving, for that matter. I can hear some stream frogs. Tip, tip, tip. I think it's still a... Here we go. I think it's still... Oh, I know that one. I think it's still a little bit early for them to be really out in the open. Now, we were chatting about owls, and people were wondering why we see more smaller owl species than the bigger owl species. Well, it's quite simple. and that was from Michael, the question. So your smaller owl species, being small, need less food, so live in smaller territories, so therefore occur in higher densities. So we do see eagle owls, both spotted eagle owl and Verreaux's, or giant eagle owl, but they have a much bigger territory, of course, and they defend it against each other far more, or not more regularly, but they just have a bigger territory. Being bigger animals, they need more food, therefore generally have bigger territories. Whereas the small owls, your pearl spotted and your barred owlets live in about a 400 about a 400, less than 400, sorry, 120 hectare home range or territory, if I remember correctly. I might have to double check that. So you've got a lot more of them around and a lot more chance of seeing them, just because their territories are that much smaller than the bigger species. Now I'm doing a last check through here. Of course, we're looking for chameleons, but also looking for Queen Karula, who's still not a sign has been seen of. Or actually, we haven't seen any signs of Shungila or Hosanna as well. Okay, there we go. Let me just remember now. Let's have a look quickly. I read it the other day, so that's why. I was just double checking. Here we go. See, there we go. I was the little owlets. I was guessing I was too big in my guesses. So they actually live within about a hectare and a half to 2 hectare home range or territory. So that's why we see more of them. So if we say, let's just make it easy, they live in a single hectare, and nests can be up to 500 meters, as close as 500 meters apart. So if they live in a single hectare, or even 2 hectares, let's say it's 2 hectares, we can have 610 different pearl spotted owlets or barred owlets on Djuma alone. And I'll try to see what the size of one of the bigger owls is. Well, we've taken one of the smallest owls, so let's go for the biggest of the bigger, the Verreaux's. Foraging, breeding, there we go. 7,000 hectares. So there we go. So as I said, it's because the bigger birds need bigger territories, the smaller birds need smaller territories. Okay, well, we're gonna start heading back towards home, and unless we bump Karula at the last second around this corner. Do you think she's there, Brian?
No.
Brian says no. Fingers crossed. We're just going to look up down towards the west, down Philemon's. Is she there? Brian was right. Good night, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Let's go back to James in his tent.
We had a very gorgeous crepuscular ray. It is still there, sort of. Can you see it, Jean-Andre?
Not much.
Jean-Andre says, not much. Sorry about that. It was very gorgeous until recently, and Jean-Andre said I should stand up here on this chair because apparently it's a very nice silhouette. Is this my best angle, Jean-Andre?
Yep.
There we go. Very nice. You can see the strands of my very fashionable bush attire. Excellent. You can see that my legs are roughly the same width as those of a chicken's, and that's probably all you can see. How much longer do we have? 1 minute. 1 minute left. I think I'll stay up here and just weigh in my little sort of 5 cents. Oh, sorry, Brent's got a hyena. Good night.
Well, we didn't find Karula, but we've got about 4 hyenas, and they look very interested in something there. I think they're actually pasting, and they're smelling boundary markings. Let's just try to get a bit closer. Oh, they're moving on. Here we go. There's a sub-adult, 2 adults. They look like they might be getting excited, but not too excited. So we are coming towards the end, and what a lovely little surprise. Some hyenas to end off with. absolutely splendid. I'm going to try and get you a bit closer so we can have a better view while we say our second good night as they march down the road in front of us. Oh, you know what they were doing? They were eating flying ants. They were eating flying ants. That's what the hyenas were doing. And I think the soldiers obviously took over too much. There we go. But we're going to say goodbye. One last look at the hyenas. Are you going to be fast enough, Brian? Quickly.